Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon, and I am here for another awesome interview. I can say that because all of them have been awesome, and I'm sure that this one will not be any different. An interview with one of our phenomenal women authors in the Love Letters to My Girls anthology, Miss Quanisha Green. She is the CEO and founder of Black Woman CEO. Now, before we jump into the conversation with her, I just want to remind you about what all of this is about, what this project and this mission is about. So, we have brought together over 100 Black women from around the United States and outside of the United States to write these love letters to Black women and girls around the world to inspire them on their journey, to remind them of how powerful and wonderful and beautiful and magical they are, to remind them of their worth and their value. Because we know that the world that we live in does not often recognize or acknowledge just how powerful and valuable we are. So we're standing up to remind our sisters that you are indeed just that, regardless of what the world might say. So we're very excited about the response that we've gotten from all of you so far. We're hoping that we continue to have your support on this mission and to make sure that you stay up to date with what we're doing and even giving us some feedback on some of the things that we're doing, go to loveletterstomygirls.com and sign up to join our newsletter. We'll be sending periodic emails, and they are periodic, so you won't be hearing from us every day. But we'll keep you updated on our progress, the ways that you can help support us, which will be through our scholarship fund, and also with donating books to organizations that serve Black women and girls around the world, and even giving us some feedback on our book design cover and our t-shirt designs and all of that good stuff. So whether you're a Black woman or not, if you believe in what we're doing, join the newsletter, be a part of this mission, and help us get this message of love and inspiration to Black women and girls around the world. So now we're ready to talk to Miss Quanisha. Now, I got to tell you, Quanisha is actually one of my coaches. Um, so if you know me personally, you know that I have very high standards. And I have very high expectations. And it's not easy to please me. But
I met the bar.
yes, yes, you did. You did. I did choose to invest in my business and myself by investing with Quanisha as my coach. And she has, helped me to make significant progress in the growth of my business. So I am forever grateful to her for that. And there's one other thing I want to point out about our relationship, because I think it's important because of who we're working with and who we're targeting with this project with Black women and talking about sisterhood, is that technically Quanisha and I are competitors.
Really? I guess so.
Yeah, technically we're competitors. But I believe that there's enough to go around. Okay. And I could have been nervous about, sharing my ideas and, programs I wanted to develop and all of that with Quanisha, in fear of, her stealing my ideas and all of that. And to be frank, I mean, it's a risk that you have to take. So I'm not saying that that will never happen to you, but that's why you go through the vetting process and you build relationships and that like, no trust factor and all of that. And then you make a decision. And I felt that, I could trust her. She has proven that I made a good decision in that. She supported me in some ways in my business outside of coaching in terms of getting exposure to her audience as well. So it's all about collaboration. If you're going to compete in a way where you're pushing each other higher to the next level versus trying to keep somebody else from making it too, because there's room at the top for all of us. So I just wanted to put that out there because I think there's a lesson in that as well before we jump into this conversation.
Yes, I
So thank you, Quanisha, for joining us. I'm so appreciative that you took time out of your schedule to do this interview with us. And so grateful that you joined with us on this mission to empower Black women and girls.
Well, thank you, one, for the invitation and allowing me to be part of this project as a partner. And it's funny when Dr. Sharita talked about, I don't believe in competition. I know technically the market term competition,
Mhm.
but I believe in collaboration, right? And what Dr. Sharita just talked about was having an abundance mindset, right, and not scarcity. And it actually goes a little bit into my letter, which we'll talk about. Is like act as if your success is guaranteed, no matter what. So it's really an honor to be able to contribute to this project and as well as excuse me, because we marketed this heavily in our community too. So I'm so grateful and thank you for the opportunity to sow into women through this medium, through the project. Your brilliance and genius right behind this. So thank you for leading the charge in that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I want you to share with our viewers, who you are, what you do, and how you're impacting the world. Now, obviously, the title of your company speaks volumes about what you do, but let them know what you're all about.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, as of now, I am the founder and CEO of Black Women CEO, and essentially, I'm the confidence strategist for Black Women CEO. So, Black women, particularly service-based providers and experienced experts who are looking to start as well as grow their business to the next level, so that they can live on their own terms, work from anywhere, leave a legacy, right? And really I want to say achieve their economic as well as their full potential.
Mhm.
Black Women CEO was founded in 2015. Originally, we were Black Women Rise, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And this movement that I see it as Black Women Rise, Black Women CEO was really founded on my desire to help Black women reach their next level. I have a master's in social work. And in my last year of social work, I changed my thesis, like with like 3 months left, because I heard God say, go focus on the Black ladies, right? And I started researching something that I was experiencing on a personal level, Dr. Sharita, where
Mhm.
I was getting promoted easily. Actually, my last role was as a co-executive director of a statewide social justice organization that even had a national partner. I was traveling around the country doing talks and the methodologies that I was employing within community organizing and justice. And I kept having two sets of Black women talk to me. So I would have folks who weren't yet at my level in senior positions or executive positions asking me, how did you get there? Right?
Mhm.
Because I'm being overlooked for a promotion. And
Okay.
then I had older Black women telling me, own your own ish. Like that's literally what a lot of women were
Right.
saying. And the reason why they were saying this, and these were women who were also in leadership positions, some of them executive directors in their own right. And the reason why they were telling me that, they said, like, I gave my life to this organization and now I have high blood pressure. Now I have cancer, or the board voted me out, right, from me being the head of this organization for 30 years.
Right.
And so they were encouraging me to own my own stuff. And I started to think, like, what is this phenomenon that I'm experiencing in my own personal life? And so I dedicated my thesis to exploring it. And at the time, spent over 100 hours really looking at the particular challenges and strengths when it comes to Black women and leadership, learning about our identity development and our sense of self. And then
Mhm.
also looking at mental health around that too. So my thesis was it was Black woman. It was testimony of self because I used my story. It's called autoethnography. I used my story to as a basis, but it was Black womanhood, bipolar, because I have bipolar disorder, and the battle to exist. But I
Mhm.
talked about the research, and over the last 5 years, you can say I've had the qualitative aspect, like the real stories and lived experiences of actually Black women. We've served over 400 clients and customers. We have a reach that's 20,000 plus just from email lists. And of course, our platform is bigger than that. So I've seen themes that I found in my research and lived experiences echoed
Mhm.
throughout Black women around the world that
Right.
we've worked with, right? It's not just the United States, right? The whole global experience of women from Africa, the UK, who also were echoing that, yes, this is my experience also. So it's really been a privilege to have that level of access and as well as the research component and understanding other like psychological and sociological modalities that creates this unique Black woman experience. And particularly at Black Women CEO, we are wondering like, how do we use economics, right? And particularly business as a means for economic empowerment and
Right.
justice, and to reduce that equity gap that we experience, particularly as you probably know, and our viewers, that there's wage inequality, and particularly Black women is showing that over our lifetime, we can lose close to $1 million in revenue. So how do we make that up? Right. And so Black women are the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs, but we actually make the lowest amount by both race and gender when it comes to average gross revenues.
Right.
So there's a disparity there that's not just about, like, say, racism and bias and wage inequity. There's also some internal biases that I found. And so at Black Women CEO, that's what we hone in both with coaching and training to support Black women and becoming more confident CEOs so that they can run a business and actually, like I said, get to that point where they can live life on their terms and have that legacy that they want to leave, whether for their own family or their community.
Right. That's good. And it was a lot in there. There were a few things that you said that stuck out to me.
Our origin story is quite complex.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So you said that you're a competence coach for Black women in business. And I think what is unique about that is a lot of times the issues that Black women deal with do come down to confidence or self-esteem, whatever terminology you want to use to describe that, but where it really is a lack of belief in your value, worth, and ability in some fashion, right? But we don't always acknowledge that that is the thing that's actually holding us back. And I think that you have a way of helping women to identify that being the root cause. And once we address that, then really like things kind of open up for you.
Yeah.
So, as an example, with us even doing this live interview, a year ago, I would have never doing this. Right. But I like that because when we talk about business coaches, a lot of times they're focused on, tactics and strategies, and kind of methods for, launching and growing. But none of that is even possible if you don't deal with the core internal things that, really have formed us into whoever we are at that particular moment in time. But you found a unique way to kind of put those things together to help women to fully become the CEOs of their profitable businesses, which is great. Um, I also took from, what you said about kind of got this nudge about do your thesis on this other topic, and you responded to that in how responding to that led you down this entirely different pathway into this work that is obviously purpose aligned and fueled by passion for you versus saying this is my plan and I'm sticking to it, which is what we do a lot, right? So I think even you telling your story, that's something that I'm hoping our viewers would take away from it, that you kind of get this thing in your spirit that's saying no, turn right.
Right.
And sometimes you should probably follow that because it actually may lead you where you're supposed to
Yeah.
be going.
Yeah, even
Um,
my journey to here, I grew up in the South Bronx in the projects, basically poor, right? Mother on welfare. She actually had a drug addiction. And even though my family was really protective of me, I got a lot of exposure to different environments. And when I was 8 years old, and I have no idea how this popped into my head, I heard a voice that said, and I attribute it to God, go to Harvard and become a doctor. And
mhm.
that drove me. And I went on to go to like some of the top schools in the country. And when it came to high school and they were like, where are you going? And I went to visit Harvard and I didn't like it. I know that's a very privileged thing to say, but
Mhm.
I went to Penn, right? I went to University of Pennsylvania, different Ivy League. And then while at Penn, I realized I didn't really want to become a doctor. I wasn't I felt medicines to be a calling. And I'm like, I like dissecting and biology.
Right.
not be a reason to go to med school, but I got so passionate about sociology.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I took a sociology class, it helped to explain my life. I finally was like, oh, these are the things I was seeing growing up. Here's like the macro reasons and micro reasons why. So, I could have been stuck and saying, I'm going to Harvard, I'm going to be a doctor. But once again, spirit, I so much believe in following your first mind and listening to spirit, even when it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes your passion will change, right? So I still think this purpose, I feel like some of my purpose is helping people to reach their potential,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that that's going to change. Your purpose is not going to look the same in every season
Right.
of your life.
Absolutely.
So I'm always open to kind of these trajectories. And if I didn't go into sociology, right, I wouldn't have got probably into community organizing and human services, and then going on to eventually social work and doing the work. Like, so, I can see these pivot points
Mm-hmm.
at different times. And if I didn't like take the left fork, right, right, who knows
Right.
what I would be. And I still feel like things probably would have worked out, whatever, well,
Mm-hmm.
right? But sometimes something may guide you to a certain point,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then for every reason you may feel called, right, or get it in prayer or
Right.
meditation, and to go a different direction and allowing yourself to have that flexibility, to me, I think is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. The other thing you said was what people said to you that resonated with you was the whole idea of owning your own ish.
Mhm.
Um, and the importance of that, even, using an example from what's going on in the world today, we're starting to see people being laid off because of the coronavirus, you know, um, and not to say that if you had your own business, your business would not be impacted by it. But you still have more control over things when it's yours versus when it's somebody else who makes a decision each day whether or not they're going to keep you on board, right? Um, and just the power that comes with owning your own stuff, you know, taking what you're doing for somebody else and doing it for yourself or creating something new to do, and the freedom that comes with that, the flexibility that comes with that, and the ability to be fully who you are in your work and deciding, who you work with and how you work with them. um, there's a power that exists in that regardless of what level you get to in industry as an employee, you just will never experience.
And it's going to the whole, I think with savings, we hear about diversify your portfolio, but
Mhm.
it's also like diversify your income,
Right.
right? So even, I don't have this ideology. I think it's actually perpetuated a lot in like network marketing and direct sales, like, oh, a job is just over broke, right?
Right.
We need workers, because even if I grow my business to a certain point, I'm gonna need employees,
Right. Exactly.
right?
Yes.
So it's not that, you always have to not be an employee, but it's like, how can you have another source of revenue or
Hmm.
leverage the expertise you have and monetize it in
Right.
a different way? Because like you said, if there's a layoff, if you have an unexpected life change,
Mhm.
you can still have a source of revenue that may be able to support you, or
Right.
that you can build on, right? That can replace any income that you lost. Like, I'm not necessarily worried in that sense about right now, this epidemic, and
Mhm.
pandemic that we're experiencing.
Right.
I know that it may impact other people by stuff for me, right? But I love that I have the flexibility to work from home, and I'm not worried about that big life adjustment or what it may mean if some people can't work from home.
Hmm.
So yeah, my motto is that power is the ability to create your reality, and part of that is encouraging more Black women to do that and have the skill set to do
Hmm.
that. Because one thing no one can ever take away from you are your skills,
Right.
right? And so, developing that and the mindset piece, right, to go with it and implement the things you're learning,
Hmm.
that's where I saw the gap. Like that, I saw a lot of Black women who had confidence in their academic background, and sometimes their work, even though they may still have like the imposter syndrome and
Hmm.
wondering like, oh, do I deserve to be here? Am I enough? But even that confidence didn't translate over to entrepreneurship for
Right.
various reasons.
Right.
And they started doubting themselves, right? And wondering if they could do it. Or for those of you like Dr. Rita, you get to a growth, you're doing well, but then to get to that next level, you're like, ooh, who am I to do the
Right.
next level of stuff? And so that's why I was like, the confidence strategy around that, it really starts to impact then the skill piece, right? And implementation. So yeah, I think it's important to have, whether it's entrepreneurship, real estate, something, another source
Yeah.
income, so you're not, kind of beholden to this one thing. And if it changes, you may find yourself, studies show that we don't, as a group. And so just for the recording or the community, like, we know Black women or Black people are not a monolith, right? So when I talk about us, in a way, it's like from the studies, right? um and so as a group, we don't have a lot of net worth, right? We don't have a lot of savings. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck and something happens, what does that mean? You may not have 6 months of an emergency fund to get you through an
Right.
unexpected life change. So yeah, business is one of those areas where you can start to develop while you're working and have that sort of.
Yes, yes, yes. So let's switch gears and talk about your letter now. Tell us what you're writing about and what you hope the readers will gain from your letter.
Yeah, so I just mentioned the doubt part. So my letter is going to be titled, pending doubt your limits,
Hmm.
right? So if you're going to doubt anything, doubt your limits. So a lot of times we doubt that we're able to do something, that we're good enough. Once again, the imposter syndrome, are they going to find me out? Do I really belong here? Am I smart enough? Am I credential enough? That enough thing comes up in all these different
Right.
ways. And so when you start to actually doubt your limits, kind of like, why don't you doubt what's possible for you?
Hmm.
Right? Why don't you act as if your success is guaranteed? So instead of saying, oh, if I can make it here, what about if I can make it there?
Right. Right.
Right? So really starting to tap into your full potential and not so much tapping into the am I deserving, am I enough, doubting yourself, but start to actually doubt what's possible for you. I
Mhm.
see four really what I call success killers of Black women's success and leadership, which is fear, which is perfectionism, comparison, and then oh wait, I'm losing the fourth one. Wait, fear, comparison, perfectionism, and it's not confidence. Oh, sorry, y'all. The fourth one is leaving me for some reason. So we'll just say three right now, right? That come up, and there's lots of myths around that. And so, and once again, this fosters this doubt, and doubt is kind of rooted in your thoughts and beliefs,
Right.
right? So if you have these thoughts and belief systems, and for Black women, we actually get a lot of messages too that's based on historical, cultural, familial, and our own lived experiences that also can foster this doubt about what's possible for us and what we can do, especially if you don't see yourself, right?
Right.
You're in leadership positions, or doing that. You may even doubt it's possible. And of course, we made huge advancements as a people. So I'm not ignoring that, but just once again, talking and serving Black women, highly educated Black women, highly talented, there's
Mhm.
still this doubt about kind of what's possible for them and where they can get, right? Not just
Right.
giving the societal stuff, but even once again, their confidence levels about what's really possible. So I'm all like, doubt your limits. Let's act as if your success and guaranteed, and actually go after what's possible for you,
Mhm.
right? In that sense.
Yes, that's good. And I know that, the readers, regardless of their age, whether it's that 16-year-old girl, the 35-year-old woman, like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then that 60-year-old woman who has been experiencing some regrets about, things that she hasn't done or experience that she wish she had, that, this topic will be one that, will help inspire them to think differently about themselves and the possibilities available to them. And then hopefully that inspiration will lead to a difference in their actions, the actions that they take in pursuing what they actually want. So I think, that's going to be a wonderful contribution to the letters in the book. So thank you for your perspective on that.
Oh, the fourth one was overwhelm.
Over. Okay.
So fear, perfectionism, comparison, and then overwhelm. Silent killers of our leadership and success. I got it.
Mhm. Okay, we got that. Everybody got those four. All right. So I mentioned that we had over 100 women join us on this mission, and you raised your hand pretty early in the process, And while it might seem obvious, well, she's Black woman CEO, of course she should do this project. I know that with you being in the position that you're in, you get people approaching you to participate in different things all the time. You don't have the time to do all of them. You may not have the inclination to do all of them. They may not all align, with what your work is overall, or even what you're focused on right now. So, what was it about this particular project that made you say, yes, I want to be a part of this?
Early on in the beginning, you talked about that like no and trust factor, and I have that with you. So, your professionalism, your own success in publishing your works and having a publishing company. So I think a lot of what attracted me to it was you, right? And believing that if I put my name in this anthology, it wouldn't be like someone's like, "Ooh, her name's in there. Like, what's that about?" That like it would mirror the professionalism that I have with my brand, both personal and professional, right?
Right, right.
That was one thing. So trusting that this wouldn't be something that's just, willy nilly put together and, with grammatical errors and
Right.
all these other things. Like I believed it was going to be a high quality work because I know you and your work ethic. And what you actually put out there into the world. So that was one thing. The second thing is that, I talked about exposure. And earlier on when I started my business, like I said, it was Black Women Rise. And I was more focused on leadership and
Mhm.
thinking about how do we get Black women more into leadership. What, bias is important, but also it's like, once again, our self bias that can keep us
Right.
from actively, excuse me, going after those positions or preparing ourselves for it. And in that early research, I found that there was a mentorship gap,
Mhm.
right? And so I see this book as a means for closing that mentorship gap from
Mhm.
having Black women so into other Black women and girls. That really attracted me. A lot of my volunteer work, particularly, has been with African American girls, and philanthropy has been investing in African American girls,
Mhm.
particularly in Philadelphia, where we have a regional conference called the Uniquely You Summit,
Mhm.
which sows into girls 12 to 18. And every year I was a girl exchange leader, so facilitating
Mhm.
discussions with them around, health topics, their identity topics, answering their questions,
Mhm.
and then sponsoring girls to attend. And so that girl component is so important for me. And I was actually thinking more about even how a percentage of our proceeds can go into investing the advancement of Black and Brown girls.
Mhm.
Because once again, that mentorship gap is so important
Right.
to close and actually have examples and exposure. So I see the book as a means to do that. So having this diversity, right, even within us as a group, I
Right.
know you're looking to have young people be authors, right, and women from all these backgrounds, and then the quality of the work that I know we're anticipating for it. That it just seemed like the perfect fit that
Mhm.
aligned with my values, the things I work towards and supporting and advancing in my own life and in my profession. So
Yeah.
it all kind of was like to me this perfect recipe. And then you're saying like, no, I'm going to make the time to actually,
Mhm.
um, invest in this and writing my letter and supporting the work.
Great, great. Well, like I said, I'm so glad to have you a part of the project, and was honored that you thought it was something that you wanted to invest, your time, your brand, and everything in and be associated with. So I appreciate that. Now we do have a few comments on Facebook. Um, so Rita was joining us, and Michelle, um, Angie as well. She
Hello,
calls us boss
hello.
babes. um, C. Trey Brown said, "Good morning, beautiful Black queens." But we always accept a compliment. Rita says, "This is so good." Jamie's watching. Yeah, so we're always glad when people can join us live. And but those who are watching the replay, is all good stuff, so just make sure you watch it through. But for those of you who joined in a little bit later, let me just remind you about the project Love Letters to My Girls 100 Black Women Speak to the Hearts of Black Women and Girls. It really is more than an anthology. It's more than the book. This is it's a whole mission. All right. So yes, we want to get the book into the hands of as many Black women and girls as possible. We will do that through traditional book sales, but we also want to make sure that our women and girls who need this message most are able to get it. So we want to be able to donate books to organizations that serve Black women and girls around the world. So we'll definitely need your help and support in making that happen. We're also going to be offering a minimum of 2 scholarships. So the profits that we earn through the virtual launch of the book, which will be this fall, will go towards funding that scholarship. But we'd love to be able to offer more than 2 scholarships. So we will provide you all with opportunities to give to that as well. The scholarships will go to, a woman under 21 and a woman over 21, and can be used for education, training, or business startup. Um,
Awesome.
so you can go to loveletterstomygirls.com to join the list so you can be updated with where we are in the process, find out more details about how you can support us. And then when the book is, ready and out in the marketplace, find out how you can purchase a book for yourself and for all the women in your life, all of them, every single one.
Everyone.
All right.
When
um,
you put other work, she's like, girl, you need to read this. How about, you
yes. Yeah. So as we close out the interview, Quanisha, I just want to ask you to just share some, motivating, encouraging words with our viewers.
well, one, I'll say the motto again that really influences just how I live and then our work, that power is the ability to create your reality, and really to go forth and be powerful. And instead of gathering proof for why you can't do something, start gathering proof for why you can do it, right? Like, are there other women doing it? um another thing is, like, start to think about your skill set and how transferable it is to other things. Like, if you're a go-getter at work, you can be a go-getter for your business,
Right.
right? And so really tapping into that power, and guess what, you already have it, right? You're brilliant. That's what I know, right?
Right.
You
Right.
already have this. So it's really not about creating this power to create. We already possess it. It's really about getting all this stuff out the way
Mm-hmm.
so that it can really come forth,
Right.
right? So it can come forth. So there's nothing wrong with you. You're not flawed,
Mhm.
right? You're not good enough,
Right.
right?
Right.
Like ungood enough or whatever. It's really a matter of, you are already all these things. And so what do you need to get out of the way? Or
Mhm.
what mentorship or coaching or whatever you need to get, support, therapy, whatever it is, to help
Mhm.
you get these things out the way so that it can really come forth, and that then you can really fulfill your purpose and honor the calling on your life.
Right. Yes. Yes. That was really good. I hope you all tuned into that, paid attention to that, rewind and listen to that again. All right. So thank you again, Quanisha, for joining us,
Thank
and for being a part of this project. And I leave you all with the reminder that your words are powerful. They have the power to inspire, to uplift, to motivate, and empower. So go ignite the power in your words. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you.